Let's also talk just quickly. I said this about how I think coronavirus clearly will be weaponised by people in the United States to have a go at Trump. But look, I'm all in on the great man. He looks over us each and every night.
Why has Trump caused coronavirus? Where does that come from?
Well,
I know he causes everything, but what's the theory?
Well, the theory is that because there will be dozens of cases that'll come forward, it'll look like he's not doing enough, and then if the stock market doesn't stays down, then his chief indices of the economy is great. Anyway, I'll let a bloke from the New York Times explain.
Yeah.
If we start cancelling events, if the economy goes down, if we can't gather in crowds, that's suddenly a gigantic event. And so many people who are Trump's critics, or who even sympathized with him but didn't think he was a great manager, a great leader, suddenly they all say that we've been saying this for years, well, at least we haven't had a real crisis. And then suddenly we get a real crisis. And so to look at it in the crass political terms, I don't see any upside for Trump. I do see significant downside and a lot of upside for the Democrats, since they are the party of health care.
How many jobs are in that for you? David Brooks
is that David Brooks?
That's
He's
David
lost
Brooks.
The plot. How desperate can you be?
Yeah. This is,
no sane person would think any of those linkages is some political reflection on Trump. Otherwise, every government around the world is going to be turfed out tomorrow.
Correct. Or what's the suggestion that in order to stop the virus, let's close the borders? Well, that would be, of course, an antithesis of what they've been saying about in the past. Stop the free movement of people for 14 days, and then everyone can go to the footy again.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously?
Well, it's a bit crazy. David Brooks is actually one of your better political commentators in the US traditionally.
He's always got Trump wrong, though.
Yeah, but he's a bit out there on this. Look, the question for Trump is how he manages it. And the model is Scott Morrison, frankly. I mean, Scott Morrison made a meal of the bushfires, as we all know, and as he's pretty much accepted himself. But he's been very good in managing this. He's harnessed government. He's projected calm. He's authoritative on the details. He knows what he's talking about. He's reassuring the communities, putting in place policies to mitigate it. And quite frankly, Donald Trump hasn't been that on the ball when dealing with coronavirus. In the press conferences that he's had, he's got a few things wrong. He doesn't seem to be across all the details as well as ScoMo. It's too early to tell, of course, but how this actually can be a very big thing for Trump. This actually could help get him re-elected if he manages the crisis properly.
By the way, there were, I'll just double check this, 32,000 people who died. That's their road toll in the United States last year. So quite obviously, I know it's always silly when people turn around and say, well, hang on, how many people were, normal flu versus other things, right? So the truth is, in a country of 300 million people, Rita, there's going to be, most likely, a few hundred that are going to end up in real trouble here. And the problem is that, and this is part of what I've said before about Super Tuesday and the Democrats, is the part of the reason why they want to get this fight over with as fast as possible is because the media wants to go all in on corona all the time and use every statistical uptick as a sign of either the failure of the government to stop it or as a way of trying to sort of scandalise the response. What do you think, Rita?
It has been absolutely shameful how the media has almost been cheering on the virus.
It's like here in a recession.
Cheering on the share market crashing. Mind you, the share market had the biggest increase it's had in years today, and all the people who were tweeting about the fall was sort of ignored that because it's all about doom and gloom. They just want disaster so that Trump is not going to be elected again. And the New York Times published a piece saying, don't call it coronavirus, call it Trumpvirus. And a couple of their columnists are calling it Trumpvirus. So these people are utterly unhinged. And I would challenge Troy there. What has Donald Trump done as far as policies, I'm talking about solid policies, that Scott Morrison hasn't done? They seem to be very much on the same page. They were quick out of the blocks in stopping Chinese non-citizens coming in from China, putting that 14-day. So yeah, they got criticised for it. There was criticism that there's a racial element to this, that they're going too far, and it's because the disease has originated from China that they're being so hardline. And now they're saying he's not doing enough. I mean, what else can he do? What other policies can he implement that he hasn't already implemented? So I just think it is their new their new issue to get him. You know, it was Russia, it was the impeachment hoax, and now it's trying to pin coronavirus, which originated in China, on Trump.
All right, I do want to move to Super Tuesday, which of course is a Super Wednesday here in Australia. We'll get back to the States in a second, but